Joseon Dynasty. Have you ever heard Joseon Dynasty? Joseon was previous country of South Korea, North Korea. Seoul has been capital since Joseon Dynasty. That's why there are 5 royal palaces and historical sites in Seoul. Joseon was built in 1392 and destroyed by Japan in 1910. So the late of Joseon, king lost his power to control the Joseon Dynasty. And the European countries start to colonize, Asian countries gradually. And then Qing Dynasty in China getting declined. Instead, power of Japan was very strong. So unfortunately, we lost our national independence by Japan in 1910. And then we became a colony of Japan from 1910 to 1945 for 35 years. But Japan surrendered from Pacific War with the atomic bomb in Nagasaki, Hiroshima. We could liberalize from Japan in 1945 eventually. But that time we didn't have power to control the Korean Peninsula. So 38 parallel was made between North and South to get rid of all the Japanese power here. But in 1948, the 2 governments were made in North and South separately due to the ideological conflicts, communism and democracy. Actually, 2 leaders were elected. So North Korea became under control of Soviet Union and China. South Korea was under control of USA and Western Europe. But first leader of North Korea, Kim Il-sung, who is grandfather, Kim Jong-un's grandfather, wanted to make the Korean Peninsula as a communism country. But that's why he planned to break out the war thoroughly. But at first, China, Soviet Union didn't agree to break out the war because of the US power in South Korea. In 1949, all the US soldiers were evacuated from South Korea. And then Atchison Line was declared from the USA, which is Far East Defensive Line. So Japan, Philippines were included with the protection line, but South Korea, Taiwan were excluded. It was really good chance for Kim Il-sung to break out the war without US power in South Korea at all. So he went to Soviet Union again to meet Stalin. That time the leader of the Soviet Union was Stalin. So he finally got a permission to break out the war with holding up Russia's power, with the Russians' weapons. For example, we couldn't prepare for the war at all. For example, they had 242 tanks. We had 0 tank. And then ironically, almost 2/3 South Korean soldiers who were placed nearby border took day off and holidays that time. So Seoul was taken by North Korea in 3 days. Even less defensive line nearby Busan took by them in 1 month. So Korean Peninsula seemed to be communism country that time. But thanks to the success of Incheon landing operation operated by General MacArthur of USA. So he was supposed to carry US and UN forces and weapons from Busan, but if he took that way, too late. So he changed the route and came into South Korea from Incheon Sea, nearby Incheon Airport. That's why that operation is called Incheon Landing Operation. Thanks to the Incheon landing operation, we could take Seoul again. Even Pyongyang was regained. After Pyongyang was taken, China thought that next target was China. So Chinese military intervened the Korean War as a human wave strategy. About 300,000 Chinese soldiers came down to the south. So it was in the middle of winter. So North Korea is colder than South Korea, much colder than South Korea. So that time, temperature dropped to minus 30 degrees, minus 40 degrees like that. That's why Allied forces, even South Korean soldiers, couldn't endure the cold weather. So we had to retreat to the border again. And then the forces go back and forth between the border. And then the war never seems to be end, and there were a lot of damage, casualties, about 3.9 million casualties. So UN decided to make truce line in the middle of Korean Peninsula for a while to take a break. So it wasn't South Korea, North Koreans' will. World powers decide to make ceasefire line in the middle of Korean Peninsula. They said for a while, but almost 90 and 70 years have been passed since the Armistice Agreement was signed in JSA in 1953. Okay, that's why since then, North Korea, South Korea were divided into 2 countries until now. So it's most tragic history for Korean people. We are same nation, same blood, same history, same appearance, but became totally different countries. Sometimes we have good relationships, sometimes not. Okay, so even separated families cannot meet their families each other anymore without government permission. Okay, and that's why it's most tragic history for Korean people. And MDL military demarcation line is connected from west to east about 245 kilometers and 4 kilometers in width. 2 kilometers to northern limit line from MDL military demarcation line, 2 kilometers to southern limit line from MDL. So these 4 kilometers are demilitarized. Literally demilitarized. No military troops, no military soldiers, no human being. Only JSA is located in the middle of DMZ. Okay, and it's kind of bumper zone, not to break out the word for a while. So you can imagine, there are 3 fences in the DMZ: southern limit line fence, MDL wire, military demarcation line wire, and the northern limit line fence. So beyond the northern limit line is North Korea. But nobody can go into DMZ, right? That's why we just go into closest from southern limit line today. We won't go to North Korea, okay? Sometimes, people make mistake to go to North Korea by gondola. You can see gondola to go in and out from Imjinga Park, but that gondola is just going to Unification Village area. Nobody can go into DMZ, and nobody can go to North Korea today, okay? If you go to North Korea today, I have to go to jail. Me and bus driver have to go to jail today. So even though you take the gondola, you just go into the Camp Greaves area in the Unification Village. Okay, takes about 15 or 20 minutes only. You can see the civilian control zone from the sky, from the gondola only. So, but if you take the shuttle bus, we go into tunnel, observatory, and entrance of Unification Village. Okay, and then so you can see, if you look on the left side, you can see the barbed wire fences. Then that is military line. That's why that means we are getting close to North Korea now. So this area is closer to North Korea than Seoul. And you can see the GP guard post in somewhere. Okay, you feel tension when you're close to North Korea. And we have to run a little bit more, 10 minutes or so. So